Hello and welcome to the Rise FinTech podcast. I'm your host, Daisy Hopkins. Rise is a global community of entrepreneurs and innovators working together with Barclays to create the future of financial services. At Rise, we believe that diverse founders are fundamental to creating tech solutions and companies that will shape our future for the better. Female founders are an underrepresented group in the tech startup world, and we're committed to changing this by addressing the unique challenges they face. We're curious about what's new in tech and how female founders are shaping this disruption. In this special series, we meet female tech founders within our community to understand more about what they're doing and what this means for the future of technology, straight from the mouths of the people who are trying to disrupt the industry. This episode of the Rise FinTech podcast features Stephanie Benedetto, CEO and co-founder of Queen of Raw. We're going to be talking about her experience as a female founder, disruption, innovation, and Stephanie's roadmap for the future of her business. Thanks for listening and enjoy the conversation. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Daisy. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Welcome to the Rise podcast.
Well, I'm very well. Thanks for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
No worries. We're so excited to have you. So we're going to start today with 3 quick fire would you rather questions. So idea here is just to say with whatever comes to mind first, all right?
You bet.
Okay, we're going to start with a very topical one, given the current environment. Do you prefer to work from home or work in the office?
I actually love working from home.
Nice. Okay, takeaway or homemade? I think you call it takeout.
Oh, yeah, definitely takeout. That's what
Okay, and then last one, movie night or games night?
Oh, definitely movie night. There's nothing like sitting back with a good movie, relaxing with the family and enjoying.
Agreed. Do you have a favorite movie?
You know, right now we're watching a lot of Elf because it is that holiday time and I have a 5-year-old. So, and The Grinch. The Grinch is another good one.
Great. I can think of worse movies. So that's happy days. All right, let's jump right into it then. So Stephanie, in addition to being CEO of Queen of Raw, you're also part of Female Founders First program by Barclays and Textiles, alongside a cohort of 30 amazing female founders. And your journey to fashion tech is a really interesting one, as I believe you were a corporate attorney before launching Queen of Raw in 2018. And you set out to build a global marketplace for buying and selling unused textiles to keep them out of landfills and turn pollution into profit. So taking all of that into account, the first question I would love to ask you is, what gets you up in the morning and motivates you as a founder?
Motivation as a founder is key, right? I mean, what we do is definitely not easy. And you want to have what inspires you and motivates you to drive you. And when you care about a problem as deeply as I feel about this, you know, it is something that you want to get up and work on day in and day out and push through the challenges. My founder story actually starts 2 years before I was born. My brother, Stephen Jeremy, SJ for short, was actually at his best friend's house, and they were playing a game of cops and robbers. And his best friend actually found his father's gun in a drawer, and he pointed at my brother. He didn't know that it was loaded, and he shot and killed him by accident. And I mention that because, of course, it was a very dark time for my family, especially for my mom. But the only thing that brought him out of it was that I was born 2 years later. I was named after him. My name is Stephanie Joy, SJ for short, and I look just like him. Wow. And so that really became something that obviously I've carried closely with me through my entire life and experience as a founder. I viewed myself as trying to be a leader and a savior, and it's definitely a message that has carried with me ever since. This real desire, you know, to help people and make the world a better place. And I share that not to make people sad, but to hopefully be a source of inspiration. This has forever impacted the way I think about the world, right? Life is so precious and short. And if we make every moment matter, that is why I do what I do, right? I really want to make a difference in the world. And I think if any good can come out of what's going on in the world right now with COVID, right? It's that we've woken up to what matters and what means so much to us. And that's why I answered that rapid fire question like I did. I enjoy working from home, not because I don't miss my team in my office. I do very much, but because the quality of time spent with loved ones is so valuable. And my time with my husband and my children and my family is so important. And that's honestly what motivates me. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And we carry that with us every day.
What a great inspirational story. I love that.
Thank you.
Amazing. So Queen of Raw uses supply chain tools powered by AI to eliminate textile waste and allows tracking and analyzing of that data to keep unused raw materials out of landfills. More broad than that, how is the fashion tech sector being disrupted? And then could you touch on how Queen of Raw is being innovative and feeding into that disruption?
You bet. With everything going on in the world, fashion is obviously seeing a massive period of disruption and change. But in that, I think of it as huge opportunity, right? When I was a corporate attorney on Wall Street, and when the market crashed in 2008 and 2009, it's kind of similar to what's going on in the world today, right? This period of darkness and waste and greed and excess. And that was kind of part of my moment and inspiration to go out on my own and build that business to go change the world, which has always been my kind of animating spirit. So, with what's going on right now, I hope people can see this as a massive opportunity for us to look at businesses and industries that are being disrupted and turned on top of their heads and find it as a source of inspiration and opportunity to build for the future we all want. So to put it into perspective of what's going on in the fashion industry, literally in the time it took us just to say hello on this podcast, fashion brands and retailers will have lost over $1.2 million in unsold inventory.
Wow.
And in fact, it actually is one garbage truck of inventory that is landfilled or burned every single second of every single day. And so obviously with what's going on right now, this supply chain waste, this unused inventory from fabrics to finished goods, it matters now more than ever. We are literally experiencing a crisis of supply, more unused inventory than ever before, right? Because of these canceled orders, closed stores, missed seasons and collections, huge returns. I know about this problem, and I've kind of been exposed to it firsthand because my family has actually been in the fashion and textiles business for over 100 years.
Wow.
So I very much grew up around it, hearing the stories. Hearing the old school ways of doing business. And as much as I loved the industry, I disliked all the waste it produced and all the inefficiencies. And I just believed that there had to be a better way, right? That makes sense for people, for planet, but also for a business's profit. And so that's kind of why we built what we built. We started it as a marketplace, as you mentioned. So anyone from a fashion brand and retailer to the biggest, to the small student makers, crafters, quilters, they can all participate. They can buy and sell their unused textiles, keep it out of landfill, and make money, right? Turn what would be pollution into profit.
Win-win.
Yeah. And what's going on right now in COVID, our user base actually grew 60% during COVID. Our revenue grew by 80%. Why? And I think it's because our solution really supports the future supply chain, the future fashion business that everyone is talking about, right? And we see it all the time. And I think we're thinking about it now more than ever, looking at a future that is more digital, more on demand, more local, and more sustainable. And I think the businesses, whether it's in fashion or any industry, right? If you think about innovating today, this ensures that your business can not only survive what's going on, but thrive tomorrow. And I always think of buying and selling waste as the perfect place to start. Because obviously, as we mentioned, it saves and makes you money today while positioning you well for this kind of disrupted future supply chain and world that we anticipate tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So excited to be part of it.
Yeah, it's such an important piece. And I do think there is a growing awareness for the role of sustainability. And I think a lot of it is about education. How many gallons of water does it take to make that one T-shirt? So it's really, that educational piece around sustainability, I think is really important as well.
It is. And I know about these facts, right? It's something I live and breathe every day. But I think in the beginning, I really did have to spend time trying to educate and build a community awareness. Fast forward to today, and it definitely is top of mind for everyone and something, that we all see and hear. But even when I started looking at this issue back in 2014, it just wasn't top of mind for everyone. And people weren't aware. And you're right. We had to spend time educating. What does that S word sustainability means? It means so many things to so many people. But at its core and its root, it obviously is about people and planet. But so many people forget the profitability of sustainability, the economics. And I think what has been very interesting to see, obviously the millennials and Gen Zs are so passionate about this, right? They care so much, and they are acting with their dollars, and they are looking for brands and companies with a mission and a vision, and that have sustainability at their core. And so it's making a huge difference now, but it wasn't always that way. And now with, things like ThreadUp, The Real, Poshmark, Depop, right? I think this reuse, recirculation has just exploded. And for us, obviously, we saw a hole where nobody was looking up the chain at the raw material waste and the B2B side of this. And I think that's a massive potential and opportunity, of course, too.
I'm a big Depop user, so I'm right there with you.
Awesome. Yeah,
daily trips to the post office for me. Perfect. Okay. And what are your goals for the future, and where would you like to be in 12 months' time?
Yeah, well, we talked a little bit about the sustainability metrics you just touched on. How much is it for that one T-shirt? For those who don't know, think of your favorite cotton T-shirt. One T-shirt takes an average 700 gallons of water to produce it, and another 700 gallons of water to wash it in its lifetime. That's one shirt. Over 2 billion shirts are sold around the world every single year. So, massive consumption of water. Fashion is the number 2 polluter in the world of clean water globally. Sits behind oil and agriculture, which is the number 1. So obviously very damaging, but in that huge opportunity that fashion and the choices we make about the clothes we wear can literally solve the world's water crisis. And that's how I like to think about it. So for where we are in the future and where we're going, we're actually on track to save over 4 billion gallons of water in 2021.
Wow.
As we grow our team and our customer base. And that's actually enough clean water for over 5 million people to drink around the world for 3 years. And so on those days when, as an entrepreneur, things look challenging, we get frustrated, we find something that we're not sure how we're going to think through or solve for yet, I look to those metrics, and we track every day as a team the water, the toxins, the energy, and the dollars that we have saved by the actions people have taken across the Queen of Raw platform. And so that's kind of been what our guiding light and what helps us push through, and why we're doing what we're doing for our kids, of course, and future generations. So in the coming 12 months, we actually are really excited to be launching version 2.0 of our enterprise software. So we're very known for our front customer facing side, for our marketplace. But what we realized as we've been growing the marketplace is, like any business, there's a lot more we could do for our customers, especially for the big brands and retailers, right? Not only can we now help them find the waste and sell the waste, but that's just a Band-Aid, right? That's just slapping a Band-Aid on the problem. How do you get to the root of the problem and help them figure out, why did we have all this waste in the first place? And how can we minimize those waste streams going forward? That's what we're rolling out with our software and tools. That is where we leverage a lot of blockchain and machine learning to do that. And I'm really excited, because ultimately my goal is that we actually write ourselves out of a marketplace business, because we have solved the world's water crisis while also solving fashion's waste issues. And, I'll be very excited when that happens. It's going to take a while to get there, of course. For right now, we're focused really on growing in key strategic regions around the world with this software, especially in Europe and in Asia, where we've signed a big partnership with SAP. And so for the future, let's build an Amazon or Alibaba done right? More trust, traceability, transparency, trust at its core. And I want my 5-year-old son and my newborn, to have clean water to drink, clothes on our toxic tour, and a planet to live on. So we're not stopping till we do.
Yes, Stephanie, save the world. Go for it. All right. And another question I want to ask you is, can you tell me about a time that you feel like you might have failed and what you've learned from that experience?
Two things that come to mind. One is that before Queen of Raw, I actually had another startup. We invented a new leather alternative, and it was really doing very well in the market. We were getting bigger and bigger orders from large fashion brands and retailers and even car companies and more. And it got to the point where it was time to raise a big round of funding and mass produce the material. And my co-founder at the time, who's also a very dear friend of mine from college, she and I had differences of opinion as to what to do with the company. Mm-hmm. She liked keeping it small and artisanal and like a luxury studio. And obviously I wanted to take it to the moon. So we kind of ended up not knowing what to do. And while I was building the business, is where I actually saw firsthand all this waste, this fabric that sits in warehouses collecting dust or gets burned or sent to landfill. And I was proud that we were producing this new leather alternative at the time, but we were still manufacturing something new. And so I would see all this waste and I said, this is just a supply-demand mismatch. We can use technology to provide the bridge. And so that became the even bigger problem that I had to solve. And that is what led to Queen of Raw. So from that experience, it definitely got me to where I am today. Yeah. And I'm very grateful for it. The other little piece I will say is obviously as a mom, which is very important to me, when we're doing startups, we have a lot of time is spent building the business. It is like another baby and a child, right? And it does mean sometimes time away from our loved ones and more than we would want it to be. And so, there are moments when I felt like as a mom, I want to do both. I'm happier as a working mom, but am I doing enough for my children and am I there enough for them? And before COVID, I was actually pushing my then 3-year-old son in the streets of Manhattan. And it was really loud and really noisy. And I hear some noises coming out of the stroller and I lean in closer and I hear, are you naked right now? You're not, because you're using fabric. It's everywhere and it's polluting your water. My son was literally doing my 60-second pitch. And so it probably means on the one hand that I've been practicing my pitch a few too many times while pushing my son in the stroller during our quality time. But on the other hand, I said, you know what? It means if my son can get it and feel a part of this, that anyone can get it. We can solve this. And then he can go, build his business and change the world and take the reins as the Prince of Raw. So, from these experiences, we definitely learn and hopefully we only grow stronger.
Incredible, incredible. And the last thing from me, Stephanie, is I heard through the grapevine from my colleague Danielle that you have met Ashton Kutcher. Can you please tell me that that's true?
Yes. So that 60-second pitch I just alluded to, I was given the opportunity on a huge stage in a live studio audience to pitch Ashton Kutcher, Gary Vee, and P. Diddy.
Oh my God.
And I had 60 seconds to do it. That was the catch. And, it was an incredible experience. I can tell you that him as a person, he understands so much about sustainability, about technology and innovation and the future. He cares. We won the grand prize of the WeWork Creator Awards, and he took us backstage and, spent quality time with us talking about how we were thinking about the business in the future. So we're really proud now to have, Ashton Kutcher come be a part of our journey and our story, and excited to see what him and other celebrities do to continue to amplify what we're all doing and push this movement forward.
Amazing. And what a great note to end on. Stephanie, just thank you so much for your time today. It's been so great catching up.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, and everyone go change the world.
Hey listeners, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe via your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review and please share with colleagues, clients, partners, and friends. And we'll catch up with you in the next episode. Until then.